the negotiation phase is extremely important. This is where you've got it down to 2 or 3 people and you're negotiating. And this is an area where there will come a time in this process where you need to step out of the way. I remember that day well. We were in negotiations on the 93 deal and then in the ultimate 2006 deal, where the investment bankers involved said to the company management, there's going to come a point in time in this meeting where we're negotiating, and the negotiation is very intense because you're negotiating a complete definitive agreement. And it involves not just the price, but you have to make reps and warranties. You have to give guarantees to the buyer that things you say are right. And you'll be putting money in escrow that if you didn't tell the truth, or if it doesn't turn out to be true, they get money back. And that's all negotiable. And there's going to come a point in time when this may happen to you, and it happened to us where the investment banker and the lawyers said to me, David, there's going to come a time, we're in this conference room in a lawyer's office in Boston, it's going to get really nasty, it's going to get tough, and I'm going to say to you, David, it's time for you to leave. And you will get up and leave. You will not ask questions, you will not say a word, you will get up and get your butt out of there. And you won't come back till we call you. And I said, well, why? He says, because you don't want to be in the room. It will impede the process. We'll get you a good outcome, but you can't be in the room at a certain point in time. And you have to be willing to listen to that. And you got to get up and you got to leave. You got to have enough trust in those people, they know what they're doing. Because their job is very simple. In every transaction, you're the seller, there's a buyer. Now you may be on the other side when you're doing acquisitions and I was the buyer and somebody else was the seller, but somebody, wherever you are, the other party wants to start on their 5-yard, wants to put you on your 5-yard line, using the football analogy. You want to get to the 50-yard line. You want it to be in the middle. You want it to be a fair deal. But inevitably the other guy starts over here on the 5-yard line. And you're pushing them to get to the 50-yard line. And sometimes the other person's just stubborn and they're just not budging. They're just not going to move. And then you maybe get up to the 15-yard line. You don't want to do that deal, unless you're desperate to get up. So there comes time when you got to get out of the room to get them to the 50-yard line. And you got to trust the people. You got to do your due diligence on picking the right advisors and then trust them. Because you're not going to get them to the 5-yard line. That can't be your goal. Now you might want to get them to the 45 or the 40, and that's okay. It's probably going to fall somewhere in the 2 40-yard lines. I hate the sports analogy, but you get the point. That is extremely important. And then the closing is, this is the dreaded due diligence. This slide is important that I'm going to. In the negotiations, too many buyers have too much focus on the total price. I'll give you $40 million for your company. Robin, I'll give you $40 million for your company. I'll give you $40 million for your company. And you go, wow, that's more money than I ever thought I'd get. I thought I'd only get $30 million for the company. Well, the $40 million is $20 million now, $10 million 5 years from now, and $10 million 20 years from now, assuming that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen. Or I can give you $30, $35 million right now. I mean, you got to understand how the money's packaged. What is the deal? Or it's a $50 million deal, but you're staking stock in another company that you have no control over. And you can't sell the stock for 6 months or a year. And the stock could fall like a rock. How is the deal structured is extremely important.